Welcome to the deep dive. There's something, well, undeniably captivating about wine, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
That perfect glass, the history, the whole almost mystical process behind it.
Yeah.
For a long time, it felt like, the world of wine was this exclusive club for experts, people born into it, maybe.
Right. Like you needed some secret handshake.
Exactly. But what if I told you there's actually an incredible and surprisingly accessible way in, and it happens to be right around the corner?
It's true. And this deep dive is really for you, the listener, because we're going to pull back the curtain on exactly how you can break into the wine industry, specifically during its busiest but also most welcoming time, harvest season.
Okay, so our mission today is basically to dig into the sources you've shared about landing that very first wine job during harvest.
Yeah, we want to extract the essential nuggets.
Give you the shortcut, really, so you're informed, ready to apply, and can turn that maybe vague curiosity into a real plan.
So why harvest? Why is this your golden ticket?
Well, this intense period, usually August to October, maybe a bit different depending on the region,
Right.
it's just the most labor-intensive time for wineries. Hands down. They're racing against the clock, getting grapes from vine to tank.
So they need people, lots of people.
Exactly. It triggers this massive hiring spree. I mean, wineries often double and sometimes even triple their staff just to keep up.
Wow. Okay, doubling or tripling, but you said most welcoming. That's a strong statement. Does that really mean someone with, like, zero formal wine experience could actually step in?
Yeah.
Or are there, hidden requirements?
That's the really cool thing about harvest. Unlike so many other industries needing degrees or specific certifications, harvest is, well, it's fundamentally democratic.
Democratic, all right.
Yeah, it's less about what's on your resume and much more about genuine passion, being willing to work hard, and honestly, good timing.
Like Sarah Martinez, she's a vineyard manager in California. She put it perfectly. Harvest is the wine industry's busiest and most welcoming time of year for newcomers. It really does offer this unique sort of level playing field.
That's amazing. So what's the biggest misconception then? Because it sounds like a seriously accelerated learning curve.
Oh, it absolutely is. And what's really unique isn't just the sheer amount of work, it is the learning curve. Imagine cramming years of textbook stuff into just weeks of doing it.
Hands-on.
Totally hands-on. You get intensive on-the-job training, learning vineyard stuff, cellar skills, right there in the thick of it.
And networking, too, you mentioned.
Oh, yeah, it's a networking goldmine. You're working literally shoulder to shoulder with everyone. Seasoned cellar hands, assistants, even the head winemakers.
That's incredible access.
It is. I actually have a friend who started as a harvest intern. No prior experience at all.
Really?
Yeah. And 2 years later, assistant winemaker. Purely through the connections and reputation she built during that first harvest season.
Wow. Okay, so this isn't just a temp job. It's a strategic way in. A perfect method to, test drive the industry really intensely, but for a short burst.
Exactly. Which is invaluable if you're thinking about a career change, or even if you're just super curious about what goes on behind the label.
Okay, so what kinds of jobs are we actually talking about? The ones that are genuinely open to newcomers?
Right. So broadly speaking, there are about 3 main categories that are really welcoming. Each gives you a different angle on the industry, different physical demands, and varying levels of customer interaction.
Let's start with the heart of it, maybe. Cellar hand or harvest intern.
Perfect place to start. These roles put you right at the core of winemaking. You're involved in processing the grapes, managing the fermentation tanks. It's incredibly hands-on.
So what does that actually involve day to day?
Well, you could be sorting grapes on a conveyor belt, picking out leaves, bugs, bad fruit, lots of cleaning and sanitizing tanks, barrels, tools, everything.
Sounds glamorous.
Huh. Yeah, cleanliness is crucial. You'll also be monitoring fermentation, taking samples, and doing punch downs.
Punch downs. Explain that.
That's where you physically push the cap of grape skins back down into the fermenting juice. It helps extract color and flavor. It's hard work.
And demanding physically, you said?
Definitely. And expect to be covered in grape juice pretty much constantly. Seriously, bring extra clothes.
Good tip. What about pay?
Typically around $15 to $22 an hour. And some smaller boutique wineries might even offer housing, which is a huge perk.
Definitely. Okay, what about for people who prefer being outdoors,
Yeah.
connecting with the growing side?
Then you're looking at vineyard worker roles. another great entry point.
Okay.
These jobs immerse you directly in, well, the viticulture. So harvesting grapes sometimes by hand, especially in high-end regions, maintaining the vineyard rows, maybe managing the vine canopy.
Canopy management.
Yeah, like pruning leaves, positioning shoots to get the right sunlight and airflow for the grapes. It's detailed work.
What are the hours like for that?
Very early starts, often before sunrise. But the upside is you usually finish by early afternoon, so your evenings are free.
And the pay range.
Expect around $13 to $20 an hour. The really cool thing here is you develop this deep understanding of how everything in the vineyard affects the final wine. It's where it all begins.
Makes sense. Okay, third category. What if the intense physical stuff isn't the main draw, but you still love wine and maybe have customer service skills?
Then the tasting room assistant role could be perfect. It's ideal if you enjoy interacting with people, and it's generally less physically demanding.
What kind of tasks are involved there?
You'd be pouring wine samples,
Yeah.
obviously, but also explaining the different wines, maybe a bit about how they're made, processing sales, signing people up for the wine club, maybe helping out with special events.
And compensation?
Usually $15 to $25 an hour,
Okay.
plus tips, which can add up.
Nice.
And while it's less about the hands-on production, you absorb a ton of wine knowledge just by talking about it all day. Plus, staff tastings are often part of the deal, great for expanding your palate.
Fantastic. Okay, so we know why harvest is great and what jobs are out there. Let's get practical. How do you actually prepare and apply for these jobs?
Right. First step, research regions. Seriously think about location. What's within commuting distance? Or where could you maybe temporarily relocate for a few months?
Obvious places come to mind like Napa or Sonoma.
Sure, Napa, Sonoma, Willamette Valley in Oregon, the Finger Lakes in New York. Lots of opportunities there. But definitely don't overlook smaller, maybe up-and-coming wine regions.
Why is that?
Often less competition, and sometimes a more intimate community feel. Easier to stand out, maybe.
Good point. Okay, region sorted. What about the resume? Especially if you have no wine experience.
This is key. You got to highlight transferable skills. Think about anything that shows teamwork, attention to detail, stamina, following instructions precisely.
Like what? Give me examples.
Restaurant work is great, fast-paced teamwork. Farming, obviously. Warehouse experience shows you can handle physical tasks and maybe operate equipment. Even team sports demonstrate collaboration and discipline.
I remember you mentioned your boyfriend's cousin.
Oh, yeah. Perfect example.
Sure.
He landed a stellar job, zero wine background. His experience was in construction.
Construction? How did he swing that?
He just focused on the transferable stuff. Attention to detail, physical stamina, used to following precise plans and instructions. They saw that and hired him right away. They knew he could handle the work ethic required.
That's brilliant. Shows it's more about attitude and core skills.
Absolutely. It's also smart to learn some basic wine terms. You don't need to sound like a master sommelier.
Right.
But knowing words like fermentation, brix, which is the sugar measure in grapes, or pressing, it just shows you're serious and you've done a little homework.
Makes you sound engaged. And what about getting physically ready?
Crucial. Don't underestimate it. Long hours on your feet, repetitive motions, lifting maybe up to 50 pounds sometimes, starting a basic fitness routine, even just walking more or doing some strength training maybe a month beforehand. It could really help prevent injuries and just make the whole experience less exhausting.
Good advice. Oh, and you mentioned a subtle difference. Winery versus wine farm.
Yeah. It's a small thing, but helpful. A winery is usually focused just on grapes and making wine. A wine farm might have other crops or activities too. Knowing this helps you target your application better, make sure you're applying for the kind of operation you're interested in.
Got it. So where do you actually find these job postings for, say, the 2025 harvest? Are they on regular job sites?
Sometimes, but you're better off focusing on industry-specific channels. Forget the huge general job boards for the most part.
Okay, so where specifically?
Winejobs.com is probably the biggest. Definitely set up email alerts there. Use keywords like harvest, cellar, vineyard. Winebusiness.com also has a good job board. Lots of wineries post there.
What about more local leads?
Definitely check the websites of regional wine associations. Think Napa Valley Vintners, Willamette Valley Wineries Association, whichever region you're targeting. They often have member-only job boards with listings you won't see elsewhere.
And directly on winery websites too, I guess.
Yes, especially smaller, family-owned places. They might just post openings on their own careers or jobs page. So make a list of wineries in your target area and check their sites directly.
Networking helps too, right?
Oh, for sure. If you can, attend local wine events, tastings, festivals, even trade shows if they're accessible. Have a simple business card, maybe just with your name and contact info, and don't be shy. Mention you're eager to find harvest work. You never know who you might chat with.
That personal connection can make a difference, and timing is everything you said earlier.
Huge. Here's the pro tip. Start looking early, like early summer. May is ideal.
May. That seems really early for an August start.
It does, but a lot of these positions, especially at the more sought-after wineries, are filled by July. So seriously, put reminders in your calendar starting in May to check those job boards weekly. The early bird really does get the grape.
Okay, message received. Start early. Now, let's say you get an interview. How do you stand out, even for these entry-level roles?
Good question, because there's still competition. First off, show authentic enthusiasm. They want people genuinely interested in wine. In the process, don't try to fake expertise you don't have. Just be honest about why you're drawn to it. That passion comes through.
And be realistic, right?
Yeah.
About the demands.
Yes, absolutely. Acknowledge the long hours, the sometimes repetitive tasks, the challenging conditions. Could be hot, could be cold, definitely messy. Express why you're ready and willing to take that on. Shows you've thought it through.
Makes sense. What else is key?
Highlighting reliability and work ethic is critical. Harvest runs on nature's schedule, not a 9 to 5. So emphasize that you're punctual, you can follow instructions exactly, and you're willing to stay until the job is done. That's huge in this environment.
Okay. Punctuality, instructions, commitment.
Yeah.
Got it. And questions. Should you ask questions?
Definitely ask thoughtful questions. It shows you're engaged and did your homework. Ask about the specific grape varieties they work with or their general winemaking philosophy, or even just what does a typical harvest day look like for this role? Good ones. You mentioned a friend who interviews people, and she asks a specific question.
Yeah, my friend whose family has a winery, she always asks candidates, what's the hardest you've ever worked?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Well, why does she ask that?
She says it's a great way to gauge if someone truly understands the level of commitment required. It's less about the specific story, more about their self-awareness and resilience. So yeah, definitely be prepared with an answer to that.
That really does cut to the chase. What's your answer to that, thinking back?
Probably volunteering on a tiny vineyard during an unexpected early frost way back. We worked literally all night, just frantically covering vines by hand, trying to save the grapes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was utterly exhausting. Cold, dark. But seeing the sunrise, knowing we'd probably saved most of the crop, that feeling of accomplishment, of teamwork against the elements, you don't forget that. It showed me what I was capable of.
That's a great story. Really illustrates the point. Oh, and one practical thing. Right. Transportation. Super important. Many wineries are pretty rural, and shifts can start insanely early. So be ready to explain how you'll reliably get there on time, every time.
Good point. Okay, fast forward. You impress them, you got the job. What can you really expect once harvest starts?
Well, buckle up. Prepare for an experience that's probably unlike any other job you've had. First, schedules are unconventional, meaning the work follows the fruit, not the clock. You might have pre-dawn starts like 4 or 5 a.m., especially for picking grapes in the vineyard to keep them cool. Cellar shifts might go late into the evening if there's a lot of fruit coming in that needs processing. It's intense.
And the physical side, we've touched on it, but reiterate that.
Absolutely real. Hours on your feet, repetitive movements, sorting, cleaning, punch downs, working in all sorts of temperatures, inside and out. And yeah, for cellar work especially, expect to get wet, sticky, and stained with grape juice daily. Multiple changes of clothes are not optional, they're essential.
You earn those stains, I guess.
You definitely earn them. But the flip side is the education.
Right, the practical learning. How significant is that?
It's huge. Honestly, you'll absorb more practical, hands-on knowledge in one harvest season than you could in months, maybe years, of just reading books.
Really?
Yeah, and most winery folks are happy to explain things if you show genuine interest. Just, ask good questions when there's a moment, not when everyone's frantic.
Like your roommate's experience.
Exactly. Her first harvest, she ended up working alongside this winemaker who'd been doing it for 30 years. Just by asking smart questions during lunch breaks, she learned so much, gained these insights that would have taken ages otherwise. It actually inspired her to go get formal winemaking training later on.
That shows the potential impact. What about the atmosphere, the people?
Because it's so intense, it creates this really tight-knit culture. You build strong bonds really quickly.
How so?
Shared meals are common. Lots of inside jokes develop. You might end up making lifelong friends. Many wineries have little traditions too, like an end-of-shift beer together or a big celebration dinner when the last grapes are in. It fosters this amazing camaraderie.
That sounds like a unique aspect. And the pace, is it just flat out crazy the whole time?
Not quite.
Oh,
It tends to follow a kind of bell curve. Starts moderately busy as the first grapes come in,
okay.
then hits this frantic peak in the middle weeks when everything seems to be happening at once,
Right.
and then it gradually slows down as the last batches are processed and fermentation is underway. It's definitely exhausting at times, no question. But seeing that transformation, grapes to juice to fermenting wine, it's profoundly satisfying. You feel like you're part of something real.
It really sounds like more than just a job. It sounds like a potential career launcher. How does this temporary harvest experience translate into longer-term wine careers?
It really is often the foundation. You talk to so many people in the wine industry, and they'll point to their first harvest as the moment they knew, the moment they fell in love with it all. It's like an
What,
initiation.
as a resume builder?
Oh, incredibly powerful. Just having one harvest season listed significantly boosts your chances for other wine jobs later. So many year-round positions, cellar jobs, vineyard work, even some lab roles, specifically look for people with that hands-on harvest experience. They know you understand the reality.
The skill development, too, must be unparalleled compared to just reading.
Totally. Classroom learning is one thing, but the practical knowledge you gain doing the work, it's different. You really understand wine from the ground up, literally from the dirt to the bottle.
And seeing all the different parts must help people figure out where they fit, career clarity.
Exactly. You get exposed to so much, the vineyard side, viticulture, the winemaking side, maybe even bits of hospitality or marketing depending on the winery. It helps you discover what aspects you're actually passionate about. It's a fantastic, low-risk way to explore different paths within the industry.
And we talked about networking, but cultivating those relationships must pay off long-term, too.
Hugely. The connections you make during that intense period are often really strong. The wine world can be small, and personal recommendations count for a lot. Your harvest supervisor, or even colleagues you worked well with, can become crucial references down the line, opening doors you might not have found otherwise.
So it's not just a path into production jobs.
Not at all. It can lead in many directions. Sure, production roles can lead to becoming an assistant winemaker or cellar master, but tasting room experience might lead to wine sales or marketing. I've even known people in winery admin roles who started with a harvest just to understand the core business better.
And people often get asked back.
Very common. If you do a good job, show enthusiasm and reliability, wineries often want you back for the next harvest, maybe with more responsibility. Or you take that first season's experience and use it to get a harvest job at a different winery, maybe in a different region, and start building a really diverse resume and network. It's a genuine stepping stone.
So recapping here, if you've ever felt that pull towards wine, that idea of connecting with something so, well, ancient and tangible, getting your first wine industry job during harvest really comes down to good timing, solid preparation, and persistence. It's this unique, surprisingly welcoming way in where passion and hard work can genuinely count more than a fancy CV.
Absolutely. And yeah, the hours are long. The work is physically demanding. Let's be real about that. But the rewards,
Hmm.
they're substantial. That hands-on education you just can't get anywhere else. The industry connections, and honestly, just the satisfaction of seeing those grapes you picked or processed turn into wine. It's pretty amazing.
There's something deeply fulfilling about being part of that whole cycle.
There really is, like being part of a kind of alchemy.
So if any of this has sparked something in you, the listener, now thinking ahead to August 2025, is genuinely the perfect time to start thinking, planning, preparing for next year's harvest season. This really accessible entry point, valuing passion, and just a willingness to get your hands dirty. It could honestly transform not just how you see wine, but maybe your entire career path forever.